Hey, what's up, Dean? Super Performance. We're back. It's been a little bit, but we got the Monte Carlo done, which that'll come back. Needs a couple of things touched up. Nothing major. Car drives, runs. So huge plus on that. That was the last video we put out, and now in this video, we're back on the '66 C10 Salvador's truck. Where we left off was like doing a bunch of wiring, getting the harness all on there and everything. And what I found, I don't have any more, I threw it away, was that the old AC unit, how it sat in the dash, I didn't like it anyways, but basically it sat like almost vertical right here. And I didn't like it, but got a lot on this truck. The steering column we ended up replacing. We used kind of an I did it column. The only thing I have left to figure out on that is the backup switch and the neutral start switch. This column doesn't have a provision for it, which to me is kind of weird because it is a column shift. So may end up pulling the column back out and seeing if I can make the stock switch work with this column, like in the stock position kind of. But I got the column in. He decided to go with a nice wood grain steering wheel. Couldn't tell you what brand it is, I don't remember, to be honest. Got all of the wiring done and tucked up except for the wiper switch, because for some reason the motor's not working, so I haven't tucked that wire and done all that because I have to go through and power check everything. He ordered the radio. This is the like Classic Industries or something like that, but basically it's meant to fit in the factory location, which if it's good, other than like where the old butcher marks are, and instead of fixing all that, they just painted it. He got the kick panels. So this is like a kit meant for this truck. So it keeps the vents, the outdoor vents. That wire there is the speaker wire. I got to get it tucked, but I had to get a new AC unit, which is what I started with. That unit, they had left the harness for it with the factory harness. So I went over to our supply house and immediately walked in, and the guy said throw it in the garbage. Basically it's an R12 only system with the copper lines and stuff. It's very, very old. There's no way to find the harness for it, so there's no way to plug it in and wire it, which kind of sucked. But he has a whole brand new AC system. So we got, I think it's from Cold Master. They're out of Largo, Florida. Has an underdash unit. Came with a new condenser, which we're using his condenser because it's a little bit bigger. Came with a fan for the condenser, which is pretty cool. Compressor, all the lines, all the fittings, the wiring harness. It even came with the duct work and the dash vents. So that's very cool. So I got that in and then went ahead and started kind of sizing out where the compressor was going to go, and ended up going with this side. This isn't like a standard Sandon compressor, but it fits the ICT billet bracket and the pulleys line up. That's the biggest thing. I ended up having to get a three groove crank pulley, 2 groove water pump pulley. So I just went ahead and got the billet aluminum ones to kind of match everything. Could not for the life of me find a like billet aluminum one, or at least a chrome power steering one, because this one has a keyway and then a nut. So this pulley isn't actually pressed on. It's held on by the nut and the keyway. So I could not find one. I may end up pulling that one off and powder coating it chrome at least, maybe, but it's a little bit of an eyesore. Took the 1-wire alternator, put it onto this side, the ICT bracket. So all of that is done. The condenser's in. and then the lines were running. The biggest problem I was having was where to bring the lines through the core support, and the only thing I came up with was they stood the condenser up, which you're not supposed to do, and brought the lines underneath. You can't really see it, but down there there's a hole in between the radiator and the core support. It's down in there. That's the only thing I could think they did, because there's no other holes anywhere in this. The way the old system was designed, the compressor was here and the lines just ran everywhere. So this system would be nice because I kept the fittings on this side for the condenser, and then it's underneath the battery tray. See if we could see it. Yeah, right there. There's a bulkhead there. So I did a bulkhead there so that I could attach the lines for the condenser on the front side, and then I have to remove the battery and part of the battery tray to get to this side. But it made it easier in the sense that I don't have to have every line made. I got everything together. I got the radiator in, the upper hose, the lower hose is on. All of that is done, and like a dummy, I accidentally put the hose through the belt and tightened it. That doesn't go there. So I got to take that back off. Not a big deal. Then I have another bulkhead here that's going to go in the firewall there where they just passed the lines through. So this will sit in here like that. That'll sit in there like that. That way it seals off the firewall. Also gives you a point of connection, because to get these fittings through the firewall, you'd have to have a huge hole, and then, you know, you wouldn't be able to seal off the hole as good unless you use like a grommet or something stupid. So I went ahead, I got the lines from the condenser bulkhead, I guess you can call it, to the dryer, which is right here, and the bracket for it, which I'm going to mount standing up like this, and then that line will go on this side, and then I have to make a line from this side to the bulkhead, then I have to make the line from the compressor to the bulkhead. So I'm on my way to get a few more fittings, because I used up more fittings than what comes in the kit. Obviously, doing bulkheads, you kind of almost double all of the fittings over. I also got, for the heater hose, I ran the smaller heater hose to the intake, and I did a stainless 90 in there. So that one's done. This fitting here, they delivered an empty envelope. Should be here today. I'll grab some 3/4 hose and some clamps, and I'll get that one made and on. Really the only thing I have left to do is mount the new unit under the dashboard, which there's not a lot of room. I would really like it if I could mount the unit kind of on an angle here, and then the ducts go out, but we're gonna have a glove box in the way, so it's gonna be a little bit tricky to mount the unit. These dashboards, they don't have a lot of room. That's the biggest issue, is there's not a lot of room on these dashboards. So I'll have to figure out and finagle and kind of finesse how to do it. Also think that it's not working. I don't know why it doesn't work. The fan's not working, so that's kind of an issue. I mean, a big issue, but I'll get this figured out. Worst case, if I have to cut some of this and kind of patch it back, there's no electrical in this box. This is literally just a duct for the heater. So I may have to figure something out with this. I think it just diverts it from like the floor to the defroster, which is right here, this handle here. And then there's another one up there, which is attached to that switch there. I think it's push pull. So I'm not 100% sure. May end up taking the heat out of the truck. Don't say anything. Also figured out the gas pedal. What I'm going to do is take this pedal I cut off from another one I had, and I'm gonna weld it onto this here, something like that. I haven't figured it out yet, because once I figured out the AC, had to order, wait, I kind of jumped on the Monte Carlo, jumped on some other projects here, but now I should have pretty much everything. Like I said, I'm going to grab the fittings that I'm missing for the AC, so I'll have those. What else? Yeah, and then the hood. I got to put the hood on and run the wiring for the 2 parking blinker lights, which is pretty simple. Just have to figure out how it runs. I'm not quite sure. It looks like it has just some holes that it clips up into, but it runs along the hood, runs along the front of the hood, then it runs down to there, and then goes in the truck through here with this harness, and the plug is just on the other side of it. So once I get all that done, pretty much all of the wiring will be done except the AC system wiring, which the harness came with it. So I just have to wire in that system, and the way that little condenser fan works is when you turn the AC on with the switch that comes with the unit, it turns the fan on. So that's pretty neat. I don't have to tie it into the Holly. I could tie it into the Holly and use it as like a fan one. I don't think I'm going to need to do that. The other thing I also did, I made an aluminum shroud for the fan. It's not bolted on there. Goes like this, so it'll go like that, and then I just have to make some mounting tabs, which I marked all 4 corners. This corner got rubbed off, but I have to make some mounting tabs to mount it into the sides. There we go. I'm gonna mount it into the sides here through this hole here, and then there's a hole down there. That side has like a clip for a wiring, so I'm gonna take that clip and cut it back and then drill the hole. And then there's a hole up top right there, so that'll mount the shroud, and that'll be done. I also took the bracket for the radiator that was grimy looking. I mean, this one's kind of grimy looking. You can tell they just threw some paint on it because they're lazy, but this one here, I sandblasted it and powder coated it, so this sits on here like that, and it holds the radiator in down. That's the top mount for the radiator, so I don't have to make nothing there. I'll have to remake the alternator wire that goes from the back of the alternator over to the fuse block or junction block thing that I made right there. So it's coming along. And I think I have everything to get this done. I have the exhaust kit to make a dual exhaust, which this truck's a little bit different. I'm going to look at how to make it. If I can X-pipe it, I'll X-pipe it. Try and reuse his mufflers, which I'll be able to reuse his mufflers, but hopefully it'll quiet it down enough for him that I'll be happy with it. So quick update on the 66. Getting it out, getting everything done as close as we can, as much as we can, as quick as we can. But we should have this one done within the week, I would say. We should have it 100%, see how everything works, and then we have a couple of these other projects, the aerial projects to do. But they're not major. So once I get the 66 out, I'm going to bring Zach's Mustang over, jump on that. I'm going to get all the wiring done, all the little stuff, alternator mounted, all that good stuff, and then start tuning that car. So that should be coming within a week, I would say, hopefully. So appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment. Appreciate it. Have a good day.